Okay, before we start the test, let's have a look at the variables and the units. Now, we have the variable s, lowercase s, that is for distance. And the standard unit for that is the meter. We work with time, lowercase t. And the standard unit for time is seconds. So you see we have an s for second and an s for distance. Now when the s is left of the equal sign, then it is distance. When it is on the right behind the number, then it is a second. And we have velocity or speed, and that is meters per second. So, meter per second. Okay, so it's important that you know the meanings of those letters. So every time we talk about distance, we use an S. When we talk about velocity, we use a V. They're all lowercase. If you use an uppercase T, then we're talking about temperature and not about time, so make sure they're all lowercase. So these are the variables. Now, with these variables, we can write the formulas. Now, the formula to calculate velocity is V equals S over T. Make sure you write it like a fraction. If we want to calculate the distance, S, then we have to take the velocity and multiply that by the time. So S is V times T. And if you want to calculate the time, you take T equals S over V. What you can see is the S is in the fraction always on top. But when you want to calculate the S, it is of course on the left of the equal sign, but then there's no fraction. So the S is either on top or in front of the equal sign. As you remember that, it's easy peasy. Okay, now we know the variables and the three formulas, or actually it is one formula written in 3 different ways. We can have a look at the test. Okay, the first question. But the first thing we do before we even start is write down step 1 through 5. So we can't miss that. 1, now you need at least 2 lines for that. Then we have step 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what we do in step 1 is we read the question and write down all the data in the same way as it is written in the question. So we go through the question. The central mid-levels escalator system in Hong Kong is world's longest outdoor covered escalator system, stretching for over 800 meters. Okay, that's what we have to know, 800 meters. Meters, no, that is a distance, so we write down S for distance equals 800 meter. To write a complete length of the escalator system one way takes about 20 minutes. Okay, minutes, that is a time, so T equals 20 minutes. And then we have to, and then step 2 is write down what you have to calculate. So we have to calculate the average speed or velocity, so V equals ... We don't know the answer yet, in kilometers per hour. So we already know what we have to write down here. We have to write down at the answer, we have to write down V equals, and then a number, and then kilometers per hour. We can already do that. V equals okay, before you go to step 3, you have a look at your units and you see that the answer has to be in kilometers per hours. So that means we want to have a distance in kilometers and a time in hours. So 800 meters equals 0.8 kilometers. This is also why you always have to write the data under each other. Only one variable on one line, because you never know if you need extra space to convert your units. 20 minutes. Now there are 60 minutes in an hour, so we have to divide by 60. So you do 20 minutes over 60. So this is, we have 20 over 60 hour. Now 20 divided by 60 is 1/3. So that is 0.333 hours. I will show that on the calculator. 20 divided by 60. You see, it doesn't stop. We have to round the answer of this step, but make sure you have more figures here than you need in the end. So if you write down 3, that should be more than enough. Okay, so we have now the data in the right units. We know what we're looking for. So the next step is the formula. Now, formula is V equals S over T. We already know what S is. We know what T is, so we can copy the formula. But now we substitute the S and the T by the values that we have in step 1. Now you see it is a fraction because we're dividing, so we also divide here. 0.8 kilometers over 0.333 hours. We take our calculator again. This answer is now the last answer that we had in the calculator. So when we use the answer button, we'll have this number again. So we take 0.8 divided by answer, and that equals 2.4. Kilometers divided by hours, so kilometers divided by hours. These are the 5 steps for a question. Question 2. Morsink can reach school in 4.5 minutes from home. He walks an average speed of 6 kilometers per hour. What is the distance between school and his home in meters? Okay, so let's write down what we have. Step 1, the data. 4.5 minutes, so that is a time. T equals 4.5 minutes and an average speed of 6 kilometers per hour. Okay, so V equals 6 kilometers per hour. Step 2, what is it that you have to calculate? The distance from school, so that is an S. You have to do it in meters. Yeah, let's have a look at the units. We see meters, but here kilometers per hour, and here minutes. What you can do, you can convert the 4.5 minutes into seconds and the 6 kilometers per hour into meters per seconds. Now 4.5 minutes, 60 seconds in a minute. So this is 4.5 times 60 seconds, because 1 minute is 60 seconds. No. So that is 4.5 times 60, and that equals 270. And 6 kilometers per hour. I don't like the trick in the book. I want to know what I'm doing. So what I do, I will rewrite this, but instead of kilo means 1,000. So this says 6,000 meters. This is the same as 6 kilometer. And instead of 1 hour, I will write 3,600 seconds. This is the same as an hour. You see, here we have exactly the same, 6 kilometers in 1 hour. So what I have to do now, I will take 6,000 divided by 3,600, and that equals 1.66666666667. 1.6667 meters per second, because you divide meters by seconds. This is just the same division line. Okay, so we have time in seconds, we have velocity in meters per second, and we have and we want to have the distance in meters. Step 3, the formula for distance is S equals V times T. Step 4, S equals 1.6667 meters per second times 270 seconds. And the answer is then, now this is still in our calculator, so we can go on with this and we do times 270, and that is 450 watts. Now we have meters divided by seconds times seconds. No, meters divided by seconds times seconds. That is meters. So the answer is 450 meters. Now for the next 3 questions, there's a story about a military physical fitness test. Now, the only thing you have to know is that for the 1,000 meter, you have 4 minutes and 20 seconds. What else? For the 5,000 meter run, you have to at least need an average speed of 12.5 kilometers per hour. And there's something about the swimming test, 200 meters in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, now let's have a look at those questions one at a time. Question 3 is about the 1,000 meter run, and you have to do that in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, the first thing we write down is again all the data. 1,000 meter, okay, that is a distance. S equals 1,000 meter, and you have to do that in, and that is a bit sneaky, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And then we need the average speed in kilometers per hour. Okay, so we want to have the distance in kilometers and the time in hours. Distance is simple, it's 1 kilometer. The time is a bit more annoying. We have 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's first write it down in seconds. 4 minutes is 4 times 60 seconds. And then we have 20 seconds, so 4 times 60. Don't try to do things by heart, you can only make mistakes when you are under pressure. 4 times 60, 240 plus 20 equals 260. So we know there are 360 seconds in an hour, so this is 260 divided by 3600 seconds, and that equals 0.072222. 0.07222 hour. Okay, again, this is already in the memory of your calculator. So we have step 1, we have step 2. The formula is V equals S over T. Step 4, V equals 1 kilometer divided by 0.07222 hours. So V equals 1 over ounce, and that is 1 over 13.846. I would say this is 13.85. So what makes this question difficult? That the time is given in minutes and seconds. So 1 minute is 60 seconds, so this has 4 times 60 seconds, and 20 seconds, so 260 seconds. The mistake that many people make is that they think, okay, this 4.20. But of course that doesn't work, because there are not 100 seconds in a minute, but only 60. So make sure you don't make that mistake. For question 4, we have 5,000 meter and we need an average speed of 12.5 kilometers per hour. And what is the time limit for this run? Okay, so step 1, S equals 5,000 meter, and average speed is given, so V equals 12.5 kilometers per hour, and I want to know the time. They don't tell us they don't tell us the unit. If we don't want to do difficult, we have hours already in our unit for velocity. Let's use hours. And maybe later we'll think, okay, let's convert this to minutes or seconds, but first do it in hours. The velocity is in kilometers, so that means the distance also has to be in kilometers. 5 kilometers. So we have step 1, we have step 2. Everything is in the right unit, so we can go on with step 3. And we have to know the time. T equals S over v. Remember, s is always on top, or it is in front of the equal sign if we want to calculate the distance, as in the previous question, but in the two other cases it is on top. So t equals s over v. Step 4, t equals 5 kilometers. Make sure you write down your unit, divided by 12.5 kilometers per hour. The answer, t equals 5 over 12.5. over 12.5, and is 0.4. But what about the unit? We divide kilometers by kilometers per hour. So we're dividing by a fraction. Now, what you have learned at primary school, dividing by a fraction is multiplying by the inversion. So we have kilometers, and now we can multiply that by hours per kilometers. Kilometer divided by kilometer is 1, so we have hours. So 0.4 hours. Now, it doesn't really make sense to give a time in 0.4 hours, so let's convert this to minutes. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So so the answer times 60 is 24. So you have to do this in 24 minutes. Now, this step is optional. If the question doesn't tell you which unit you have to use, you can use whatever unit you want to have. In question 5, we have to calculate an overall average speed of a 1,000-meter run and the swimming test. So imagine the soldier does the 1,000-meter and directly goes on with the swimming. What would be his average speed from the beginning of the first test to the end to the second test? So we have to know the time for the 1,000-meter, and we also have to know the distance and the time for the swimming test. Now they're all in the story. So what will be our data? If we have here swimming and the 1,000-meter. Now the distance for the swimming is 200 meters. And for the running, 1,000 meters. And the time for the swimming is 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And for the running was the 4 minutes and the 20 seconds. What we have to find out is the overall speed, the average speed of the two. And again, they don't tell us which unit. Let's take it easy and do meters per second. We can also later on convert that into kilometers per hour. Let's first have a look at this question using meters per second. So the formula is total speed, for average speed is total distance for the average speed is total distance, so S total over the total time. So what we have to do first, we have to add those two distances to get the total distance, and we have to add those times to get the total time. Now, that's what makes this question annoying. So this will be simple. It's just 1200 meters, but for the time it's going to be a bit more annoying. So T total is 4 minutes. 4 minutes plus 50 seconds plus 4 minutes plus 20 seconds. So T total equals 8 minutes, and 50 plus 20 plus 70 seconds. 8 minutes equals 8 times 60 seconds. Now we have the 70 seconds. Is 550 seconds. So we have the total time and we have the total distance. So now we can fill in the formula. V equals 1200 meters over 550 seconds equals 2.18 meters divided by seconds. So it's fine to stop now. If you want to convert this into kilometers per hour, now what you have to realize is you're not running and swimming for 1 second, but for 3,600 seconds. So instead of 1 second, we'll say, okay, 3,600 seconds. That means that you also get 3,600 times further, so that is 2.18 times 3,600 meters. Now you can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number without changing the value of the fraction. So we have still the same fraction as we have here. Now, instead of 3,600, we'll write divided by hour, because it is the same. And what we do here, we take the number, the meters you have in 1 second, multiply that by 3,600, and then we have 7,855 meters. Now, that is that's strange. Now we have meters per hour, so we want to have it in kilometers per hour. Now we have 7,855. Now, a kilometer is 1,000 meters, so we have to divide this by 1,000, and then we'll have as an answer V equals 7.9 kilometers per hour.